July 26, Toronto's Greenwood Raceway. Driver Pat Crowe and Cam FELLA win the Queen City Stakes in straight heats. Then last weekend, Flamborough Downs, Dundas, Ontario. Cam FELLA burns him again, another straight heat victory. This week, today, live from Blue Bonnets in Montreal, Cam FELLA in the 16th racing of the Prix d'Été, Canada's richest horse race ever. Hello everyone, I'm Doug Saunders, and welcome to beautiful Blue Bonnets Raceway in Montreal. One of the largest crowds of the season on hand here today, and really that's not surprising, as the track hosts the 16th edition of the Rich Prix d'Été. And when I say rich, I mean rich. A total purse this year of $377,000. That makes this race the richest ever in Canada. We talked earlier about Cam FELLA, the remarkable success that horse has enjoyed racing in Canada so far this year. A win in the Queen City Stakes in Toronto, a win in the Confederation Cup last weekend. He'll be trying for a win here today, but as our standard-bred expert Earl Lennox says, he'll have a tougher time of it.
The three-year-old pacing category in North America this year is wide open. There are about 10 colts have shown they can pace a mile in 1:54 or better. Higher Power did it in 1:54 just 2 weeks ago in the Adios Stakes at Pittsburgh. Bo Scott's Blue Chip won the Monticello Off-Track Betting Classic, and then last week at Syracuse paced a mile in 1:53 3/5. The best colt from the Ontario Sire Stakes, ARMBRO ACTON, is here with his driver Garth Gordon. McKINZIE ALMAHURST, winner of the Woodrow Wilson at 2 last year, and winner of the Oliver Wendell Holmes just 2 weeks ago with Hall of Famer Billy Houghton. Merger, the fastest 2-year-old ever in the history of the sport, who won again last week at Syracuse in 1:53 flat, the fastest horse in the Prix d'Été field. His entry mate, HILARION, won the Meadowlands Pace for $1 million purse just over a month ago. And ICARUS LOBELL, the Battle of Brandywine winner. No NUKES hasn't won any of the major stakes this year, but has still earned over $500,000. That's the kind of competition that Cam FELLA will face. He's already won the Cane, the Queen City Stakes, and the Confederation Cup. 19 victories in 23 starts this year.
Thank you, Earl. The finalists for this year's Prix d'Été have been determined. Let's meet them now in the post-parade as we go upstairs to Jean des Hôtels. Okay, the first horse is just now starting to make their way onto the track. We will be with you with the post-parade and meet the horses in just a moment, and I understand we are ready now. So once again, let's go to Jean des Hôtels and meet the horses in this year's Prix d'Été.
Les Ambleurs pour la 7e course s'amènent en piste. The pacers for the 7th race are now entering the track. La finale du Prix d'Été 1982. The 1982 Prix d'Été finale. Le numéro 1, number 1, Merger. Sa dernière victoire en 1:53 à Syracuse en fait l'un des favoris de cette finale. The Albatross Son is trained and driven by John Campbell and is one of the top contenders in this Prix d'Été. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le numéro 1, number 1, Merger, et John Campbell. Le numéro 1A, number 1, est McKINZIE ALMAHURST. Le fils de Blue Bonnets, propriété de Five Guys and Me de Westbury, New York, compte déjà plus de $500,000 en bourse en 1982. He will have Billy Houghton in the bike this afternoon, who is at his 12th participation to the Prix d'Été. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le 1A, number 1, est McKINZIE ALMAHURST et Billy Houghton. Le numéro 2, number 2, Cam FELLA. Un excellent rejeton de Most Happy Fella qui a déjà un compte en banque de $528 464 en 1982. He is owned by Mr. N. and L. Clements of Willowdale and N. Faulkner of Stouffville, Ontario. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le numéro 2, number 2, Cam FELLA et Pat Crowe. Le numéro 3, number 3, Bo Scott's Blue Chip. Les propriétaires Arthur Klein et John McNamara ont versé les 20 000 $ pour le rendre éligible à la grande classique. The most happy fella son has already earned $219,792 in 1982 with a record of 6-4-0 in 16 starts. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le numéro 3, number 3, both SCOTS Blue Chip et Catello Manzi. Le numéro 4, number 4, ARMBRO AUSSIE. Il est la fierté de la ferme Locksmont de Wrightsville, en Pennsylvanie. Il compte une victoire en 1,56-1 à la piste Buffalo. He has already earned $130,680 in first money. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le numéro 4, number 4, ARMBRO AUSSIE et Glenn Garnzé. Le numéro 5, number 5, ARMBRO ACTON. Le fils de Horton Hanover n'a pas couru à l'âge de 2 ans et en est donc à sa première année de compétition. Il compte déjà 8 victoires en 17 départs à vie. He is one of the Canadian representatives being owned by Mr. Bruno Comigna of Burlington, Ontario. He is driven and trained by Garth Gordon. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le 5, number 5, ARMBRO ACTON et Garth Gordon. Le 6, number 6, ICARUS LOBELL. Le protégé du champion mondial Herve Filion compte déjà une brillante victoire dans le Battle of Brandywine. Sa fiche parle par elle-même, 13 victoires en 35 départs à vie et des gains de 591 971 $. He will be driven today by the world champion Herve Filion and is owned by the American Standardbred Farm. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le 6, number 6, ICARUS LOBELL et Herve Filion. Le 7, number 7, Cole Arbor. Le rejeton de Albatross s'est déjà signalé ici à Blue Bonnets alors qu'il remportait le prix de l'avenir en 1981. His money earnings are already at $197,960 with a record of 4-2-5 in 17 starts. He is owned by R.E. Chilvers and J.M. Johnson from Ontario. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, le numéro 7, number 7, Cole Arbor et Ron Waples. Mesdames, messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, votre peloton pour la finale du Prix d'été 1982. Your field for the finale of the Prix d'été 1982. Le départ à 3h43, hold time 3:43, 5 minutes.
So, an impressive field for this year's 16th edition of the Prix d'été, and we shall return to Blue Bonnets in Montreal right after we take time out for these commercial messages. Well, initially, there were 15 horses eligible to this afternoon's Prix d'été, forcing race officials here at Blue Bonnets to set up 2 $113,000 elimination divisions. There were 8 starters in the first of those. Let's take a look at them. The number 1 horse, Higher Power, Bo Scott's Blue Chip racing out of 2, then Livingston County, ARMBRO AUSSIE with Glenn Garnzé out of 4, SOKY'S Adam with Archie McNeil from 5, MB Crown, the 6 horse, did not start, ARMBRO ACTON from 7 with Garth Gordon, and rounding out the field, McKINZIE ALMAHURST with the veteran Bill Hutton. And Earl, here we go.
Okay, Doug, right at the start, Higher Power, winning the Adios Stakes, rushed out to get the lead for his driver, Mickey McNichol. Challenging him, Bo Scott's Blue Chip, and that's ARMBRO ACTON rushing up on the extreme outside. And see, Higher Power made a break right here, allowed ARMBRO ACTON to tuck into the 2-hole.
A lot of people wondering at this point just where McKINZIE ALMAHURST was, because he was one of the favorites going into the race.
Well, we'll see him as he come off the turn here with Bo Scott's Blue Chip leading at the quarter marker in 28 3/5. ARMBRO ACTON right there, second, Higher Power third, and there's McKINZIE on the left side of the screen.
Okay, Higher Power, as you had mentioned, Earl, a winner in the Adios just 2 weeks prior to, and so people obviously looking for a big performance from him here this afternoon as well.
And as they raced past the stand, it was Beau Scott's Blue Chip, winner of the off-track betting classic at Monticello, still in front, ARMBRO acting second. And at this point, Livingston County began his drive on the outside, ranged up to third. And as they entered the backstretch, ARMBRO AUSSIE was out following him. So at this point, it was Beau Scott's Blue Chip, ARMBRO acting second, Livingston County third out there. At the rail, Higher Power fourth, and fifth on the outside, ARMBRO AUSSIE. Going down the backstretch, and McKINZIE ALMAHURST still not in the picture. He's got a bit of road trouble here, Doug.
Earl, I think it's worth mentioning, I should say, that all of the races here at Blue Bonnets this afternoon have been plagued by gusty winds, the horses battling those, and that reflected in the time in this first race.
That's right. The half was in 58.3. The three-quarters just passed 128.1. And here, ARMBRO AUSSIE circles up around a tiring Livingston County and comes on to challenge Beau Scott's Blue Chip. ARMBRO ACTON with a ton of horse there at the rail. Garth Gordon can't get out. He elects to go to the inside. It appears that Beau Scott's Blue Chip will drift out, but there wasn't quite enough room. On the far outside, McKINZIE ALMAHURST closed with ARMBRO AUSSIE. Two-horse finish here with Beau Scott's Blue Chip holding on with ARMBRO AUSSIE closing. ARMBRO ACTON and McKINZIE right there.
Okay, so there you have it. Beau Scott's Blue Chip, the winner of the first Prix Elimination. Beau Scott's Blue Chip, the winner, with ARMBRO AUSSIE second and ARMBRO ACTON third. And of course, it's the top four from each elimination heat that does qualify for this afternoon's Prix final. As mentioned, 15 horses, 2 elimination divisions. Let's take a look at the second one now, also for a purse of $113,000. The number 1 horse, No Nukes. Number 2, Cole Harbor. Number 3, ICARUS LOBELL, with Blue Bonnets' favorite, Herve Filion, driving. The number 4 entry, Watering Hole. After that, we had Merger with John Campbell. FELLA with Pat Crowe and HILARION. The second elimination division for a purse of $113,000. Oh, this was a good horse race.
At the start, Cole Harbor rushed out fast. Watering Hole likes the front end, and Normando Place took him to the front. Cole Harbor second, and FELLA dropping in there third from the far outside. Moving into fourth as they came to the quarter-mile mark, that was HILARION from an outside position. ICARUS LOBELL fifth, and starting up now from far back, Merger. Coming over to the quarter, and the leader at this point is Watering Hole with Cole Harbor, FELLA third, and he comes out as Merger moves up to challenge.
I was a little disappointed as we watched this race earlier, Earl, that No Nukes didn't turn in a better performance. Glenn Garnsey driving him, and he's been there in just about every race he's been in this year, but really experienced some problems here. Seemed kind of rocky at times.
Right, we see that as they go past the half. FELLA leading at this point. Merger races to the front with FELLA second, Watering Hole third, and now starting up on the outside is HILARION. See him there going around Cole Harbor. Following him on the outside, the horse with a white shadow roll is ICARUS LOBELL. In this heat, the quarter was 28.2, the half 57.1, and Merger drove right on. FELLA second, and he went, stayed on the rail there with allowing HILARION to go unchallenged right by him.
Looked like FELLA might be in some real problems here, Earl. As you say, HILARION up quickly on the outside with Billy O'Donnell, but look at No Nukes coming from the back of the pack now, and all of a sudden you will see him get his head around, put some bad steps in, and that's the kind of a race it was for No Nukes. Meanwhile, FELLA getting a break now to get out of that 2-hole.
Yes, Merger opened a couple of lengths at the three-quarters. It was 126.3 at that point, and coming around the turn, making the break there was HILARION, and No Nukes, of course, was in real trouble before the three-quarters. Through the stretch now, and it's Merger, FELLA coming by him easily to win it for Pat Crowe in 1:55 2/5.
Okay, FELLA, 1:55 2. Very impressive performance to get him into the Prix final. Your top 3 in the second elimination, FELLA, Merger, and ICARUS LOBELL. We're all set now for the Prix final. Let's go upstairs to Jean Desautels.
On accentue le rythme, they are picking up speed. Et c'est le départ d'Herve. Et dans le signal du départ de la culture FELLA. On the extreme outside à l'extérieur tout à fait. C'est McKINZIE ALMAHURST. Entre deux adversaires, ARMBRO ACTON. 4e, 4th outside Cole Harbor. 5e, 5th alongside the Beau Scott's Blue Chip. Maintenant, 6e dans 6th merger. 7e, 7th ARMBRO AUSSIE. Et 8e a été ICARUS LOBELL. Spreading the field à l'arrière du peloton. On se dirige sur le poteau du 40 000. Heading for Waples. Qu'on franchit en 27 et 4. 27 and 4 at the quarter mark. En tête, on top. The ARMBRO ACTON. À l'extérieur, outside, challenging McKINZIE ALMAHURST. 3e, 3rd, Campbell. 4e, 4th, SCOTS Blue Chip. 5e, 5th, outside. C'est merger. Alongside the Vale à la culture Cole Harbour. ICARUS LOBELL 2 wide. And at the Vale ARMBRO AUSSIE. On dirige sur le poteau du 10 000. Heading for the asphalt pole. En tête, on top. At the Vale à la culture McKINZIE ALMAHURST. 56 et 1 à demi. 56 and 1. At the asphalt pole. McKINZIE ALMAHURST. À l'extérieur, outside, Campbell is challenging and on top. Campbell a pris devant. Deuxième, second, McKINZIE ALMAHURST. Troisième, third, outside, ARMBRO ACTON. Maintenant, quatrième, now fourth. Go Scots Blue Chip. After Will C. Cole Harbour. Sixième, sixth, outside, c'est merger. After Will ARMBRO AUSSIE. Et à l'extérieur, ICARUS LOBELL. On a franchi le poteau du 3/4 000. Une 25 au 3/4 000. 125 flat at the 3/4 mark. And let's watch that Philly timer. Surveillez bien le chronomètre. On vient compléter. Coming down to the wire. What a race. Quelle course. À la culture et en tête. After Will on top, Campbell. Deuxième, second. On the extreme outside merger. ARMBRO ACTON. À l'extérieur, tout à fait, ICARUS LOBELL. The winner of the 1982 Prix d'été. Le vainqueur, Campbell. Les voici, Herve.
So, a remarkable performance by Campbell. We began our program today by showing you some of his other exploits in Canada this year. The Queen City at Toronto, the Confederation Cup at Flamborough Downs, and now he comes to Blue Bonnets for the 16th Prix d'été at Earl Really No Contest.
At the end of it, it was all over. Right from the head of the stretch, Pat Crowe hit the wheel a couple times with his whip, and Campbell, in horse racing jargon, literally jogged. He just drew away at the end.
Some real confusion here in the middle of the pack among the horses going for second and third, Earl. As you can see, that was merger, the sign of a tired horse as he just went on the gallop there and caused some real confusion.
Right, Ronnie Waples and Herve Filion here in a photo finish with Cole Harbour and ICARUS LOBELL for the place spot, but it was Campbell at the wire. We'll have to wait on the photo.
Was he not a supplemental entry to the Prix d'été, Campbell?
I believe he was. He wasn't originally nominated for the race, but he deserved to be in it.
So obviously money well spent then.
Very, very true. 20,000 for 377.
And a look now at Campbell with trainer-driver Pat Crowe being paraded back to the winner's circle. This 3-year-old colt has done a remarkable afternoon's work as we take a look once again at Campbell burning it up, sizzling down to the wire.
Picked up over 65,000 in that first heat, and back here in the second heat, again getting the lion's share of the purse. So his earnings for the year now go close to $700,000.
About $130,000 of that picked up here this afternoon. So as we say, that's supplemental payment money well spent indeed. In perfect stride as he reaches at the wire, and as you say, Pat Crowe, no urging other than a couple of slaps at the side of the bike.
That's right. Before this final heat, Doug, we talked to Pat Crowe. You asked him about what he thought he would do, and he said he'd take advantage of the #1 post position. Keith Waples had advised him to do that years ago.
McKINZIE ALMAHURST in his elimination earlier this afternoon was not particularly impressive. Billy Houghton that time had him out and going much sooner in the race. Or were you surprised that he didn't hang on?
Well, I was kind of surprised that Campbell went by him with the ease. He didn't seem to have any battle in him at all on the backstretch there, but of course Campbell is a great horse too, but McKINZIE just couldn't seem to go with him at all today, and I guess faded quite badly at the end.
Earl, a strange year for the 3-year-olds. There has been no Albatross. There has been no Brad Hanover. In other words, a horse that can dominate week in, week out. Is Campbell going to be that kind of horse from here on in, do you think? Does he show that kind of capability?
Well, he shows that kind of capability, Doug, but unfortunately the horse is not in the little brown jug. They can again supplement him to the messenger stake, but it'll be tough for him to get enough starts against these other colts. He's probably not eligible at Lexington either, and you have to start in those big races week after week and beat them week after week in order to get the votes. But boy, he'll get my vote after today.
He may get mine as well. We'll be back with more from the Prix d'été at Blue Bonnets in Montreal after we take time out for these commercial messages. are back at Blue Bonnets Raceway in Montreal, where the 16th edition of the Prix d'Été is now history. Just a remarkable performance here this afternoon by Pat Crowe and Cam Fella, starting with a superb mile as they won their division to qualify for the Prix d'Été final, and then just a remarkable performance in the final as he paced a mile of 1:55 and a fifth, a time all the more spectacular, I would say, today because of the gusty winds here at Blue Bonnets. That has to affect a horse, particularly going through those long back stretches and again racing for home. So just a remarkable performance by Cam Fella, a mile in 1:55 and 1. Now that is short of the track and Prix d'Été record of 1:53 and change set by Niatros a couple of years ago, but Niatros didn't have to face these weather conditions that day. And Earl Lennox, come on back in. You were over to talk to Pat Crowe, the winning driver. He's obviously got to be pretty happy right now, I would think.
Very elated, and so are the owners, Norm Faulkner from Uxbridge and Norm Clements from Willowdale. And when they get the pictures done in the winner's circle, we're going to have them over here for an interview, I hope.
What plans do they have for the colt beyond here? He's not eligible for the jug, as you said.
Well, I'm not just sure where they can go. They just have to pick their spots from now on for the rest of the season. They can supplement him to the Messenger Stake at Roosevelt later in the fall. And, of course, if he could win that race, that's 2 of the 3 legs of the U.S. pacing Triple Crown, now that he's won the Canadian Triple Crown. So I think it would be awfully hard to ignore a horse with that much ability.
Earl, I mentioned the winning time of 1:55 and 1 being short of Niatros's all-time Prix d'Été record of 1:53 and change. But, boy, we had some wind here this afternoon and a remarkable mile in light of that, I would think.
Yes, it's very windy and extremely cold, too. The day that Niatros went 1:53 and 4 here, it was a beautiful day, no wind and sunny. And, of course, Cam Fella is a great horse, but I'm not yet ready to make him a Niatros.
Okay, what are we going to do now? We'll take a look at the payoffs, and there you see him. Cam Fella returning $4.20 to win, $3.50 to show, $3.50 to place. The number 2 entry, $8.80 to show, $4.50 to place, and the number 3 horse, $8.40.